Ladies and gentlemen, we have actually a former 2020, I think, Miss International here today.
Yes.
And let me tell you, beautiful. Like the most beautiful woman I think I've ever seen. In fact, we're going to learn a lot about her. And I want to introduce you to her, Donna DeStefano. She was Miss 2020, Miss New Jersey International.
Ms. Woman.
Miss Woman.
New Jersey International.
What does that
2020.
mean? Miss Woman.
It's
like you are the woman. Like
I believe it's 56 and over, and I'm way over that. So that's the category. And
is that did they just make that up for you?
No, but when I saw it, I thought, you know what? Between that and the mission of the pageant, which is support SACs and addiction, that's my background, and I decided that it was something I would want to do.
Well, that's amazing. Yeah. So Donna so those of you who don't know, she's a grandmother. And when I found out that she was a grandmother, I couldn't believe it. So I thought it was a typo. And so she reached out to me a week or two ago, and I said, is it true that you're a grandmother? You look like you're 25. You look like somebody from Friends. Like if I was watching Friends, right? You'd be like Phoebe. And she's like, no, I'm really a grandmother. And I didn't believe it. And I still don't believe it.
I am.
Could you tell people how old you are? Would you be okay with that?
Sure. I'll be 67 in July.
I still don't believe that.
Yeah.
You look like you're 25 years old.
Thank you.
What is the key to this beauty?
Eating right. My husband thinks it's him. Eating right, living right, having a good attitude, just being surrounded by love.
Well, that's a good way to become beautiful.
And Clinique, if I can say that.
No, because it's amazing because you're all over social media. You do everything, by the way. So before we even get to your platform and how this this Miss New Jersey has helped that platform, let's speak about some of the things that you do. So from what I've read, you did tell me that you did carpentry, like faux painting, and you got on stilts and you did that. But you also have a sunglasses line.
Yes.
You also do cookbooks and you love cooking. I mean, there's things that. What do you not do? You would intimidate anybody. So it's no wonder you won. So just based on what you do. So tell me a little bit about, what's the first thing? It was the faux painting business. Was that the first?
Well, years ago, I painted. I just painted houses. I worked for this guy.
A house painter?
Yes, I was a house painter. And I loved it. I made decent money. It was something that I did when I got divorced. I was married before. And it was good money. You must intimidate people. Did you intimidate your ex-husband? I would be intimidated. You probably painted better than him, right? You probably looked better than him. I don't want
got
to
all
say
the attention. All right, I'll digress.
But I started to paint, and one day I went into this home, and faux painters were in there, designers, and I thought, I want to do that. And I went back to school. And that's what I did. So I started doing faux painting, doing interior design. I worked before that. In between, I worked for a guy, Scotty's Drywall, and that's where I did spackling and taping.
Are you serious?
Yes, and I learned how to walk on stilts. And I got really good. I could walk up and down the steps.
Is that why you're able to be in shape, is because all that stilt training?
Yeah, possibly.
It must be. So when was the last time you were on stilts doing sheetrock?
Years ago. I mean, we're talking like 25 years. 25 years ago.
As a guy, I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
But I could see that as intimidating too. Is your husband intimidated by you at all?
No, I don't think so.
But you can still hang better sheetrock than he could. Tape better than he could.
I don't know. He's a builder. So,
okay.
I have some competition here.
Gotcha.
And he's a lot stronger than I am. I'm not as strong as I once was.
Wow, that's amazing. So you go from the faux painting, and then after faux painting, what was next?
So after that, one of my daughters succumbed to heroin addiction. And, I'm not the type of person that can just sit back and take it. And I just really wanted to help her, really. And I wanted to find a solution, So I started researching, I started volunteering, just learning, really, and educating myself. And with all of that, it landed a job for me.
So let's take that back, because that's it's a big thing, right?
Yeah.
The heroin addiction. So you said you tried to you didn't get help, like outside help, or you did, it didn't work? You don't start figuring out how to fix it, don't you think?
Yeah, you don't. Right. I mean, of course, when you find out, you're blindsided because you can't believe it.
Especially when you have good parents, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, parents blame themselves a lot of the time, and really it's not their fault, typically.
Yeah.
I mean, typically. And it can happen to anybody. I don't care who it is,
You're
you know?
right.
It can happen to anybody. And when we found out, we scrambled. Like, you know, what do you do? And do you yell at her? Do you lock her in the room? Do you, you know, try and find a rehab? Like, even that process of a rehab, like, what is that? And where would you go for that? Do I call my pediatrician? You know, do I say that she's doing drugs? Will she get arrested?
Yeah.
You know, there's all these crazy things that go through your mind, and you don't know where really to go to get help. And, you know, I started going on the computer, looking, researching.
Well, did you get her rehab? Did you get it?
We did. We finally did. You know, I called the insurance company. They had the behavioral health number on the back.
Right.
And we did go. But the funny thing is, still not knowing a lot about addiction, I sent her for 7 days for a detox, and she came home. They sent her home and said in 2 weeks to follow up with an IOP. So when she
What's
came
an
home, intense outpatient program.
Okay.
But when she came home after 7 days, this is how naive I was, and I think most parents were back then. You know, there wasn't a lot of talk about it. I just thought she was done. You know, I thought 7 days, she detoxed, all the drugs are out of her system, and good job, Mom, you got her out. Okay, she's
Wow.
good. And of course, you know, if anybody knows anything now, it's so publicized and out there, good education out there, informed, but that's not the case. And of course, she relapsed, you know, and I believed all the things that she said, you know, Mom, I want to be a drug counselor. You know, and she was young.
How
like
old was she?
17.
Wow.
Yeah, young, you know.
Was
So,
it her friends? What was the influence? Because there's always an influence.
you know, from what she tells me, I think a lot of it was, you know, just friends and not knowing it was prescription drugs. And that's how it started. And back then, you know, everybody thought if it's prescribed, it can't be that bad. And I think that's what happened. And slowly, she got addicted. And, you know, that's what happens. That's what happens, yeah.
So she goes into rehab, but she's 17. And now I know, because you told me that she's okay. But that whole process, there was a lot going on. How
Yeah.
long did it take for her to finally...
Years. Because, you know, anybody will tell you it's usually not one time that someone will go to a rehab and, you know, either get it or want to get it. Either they're forced by their parents like she was, or they're mandated by the court. So, you know, and she would tell you herself that, you know, you have to be ready for it. You have to have like enough. That's enough.
What was her enough?
Be okay.
Was her enough getting kicked out of the house? I hate to ask these
Yeah,
personal
no,
questions.
it's fine. And, you know, it's fine because she's spoken about this and she's done videos for Governor Christie and she's
that's
gone
great.
to New Hope to talk to people. And, you know, she's done a lot of things. So she's fine with it. And, you know, it's not a secret. But she, you know, she just said one day she just had enough. Like, you know, and she said, sometimes, like, people say it's your bottom, but she said it's just like there's never a bottom because there's a trap door.
Yeah.
And that's what she said. And she said that it finally, just after 5 times of going to rehab, it just finally, she was just tired. She just had enough, you know. And she said she did miss, like, you know, we do a big Christmas Eve, we do a lot of family things, and she missed it. And she, you know, I give her a lot of credit because she did it. She came back from it, she did it, and I'm proud of her.
How much did you love on her when she was back to your daughter?
Still, like every day.
I know.
Every day.
You know,
we
we take for granted. I went through something very, very similar. We take for granted those moments.
Yeah.
And then when you get that person back, it's like you don't want to ever let them go. And
No.
make sure that they know that they are so loved.
Yeah.
That is so important.
It's true.
So was it rehab that got her better, or was it a drug that got her better? What was it? Meditation,
She
therapy?
actually said one of the counselors that she had in one of the, I think it was in New Hope, she had a counselor that she really connected with. And I believe that's, you know, what did it for her. She said, you know, she really connected. She talked to her. She was recovering, you know, the counselor. So she identified with her. And she said, you know, I just felt it, and I felt like I could be okay. And then she worked hard. She worked hard. She got a job. She moved back in with us. Let me just take a sip.
That's the Rock Out Loud water. It'll make you feel fine. So she was living out. She wasn't at 17 years old, and she was out of the house doing this.
She moved in with a friend. Yeah. And then,
I know I went through that same thing, and then they came back, and then it was one of those things where,
right,
when they come back, you just want to love on them,
It's true, and you just, you always worry.
Yeah,
in the beginning, especially, I worried.
How many years has it been now?
Almost 10.
Almost 10?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Almost 10.
That is phenomenal.
She's working. She has her own apartment, everything, And our family is close. My other daughters, we're all close. We're all back normal. Everything is good. And,
wow.
It took work, though.
Yeah. So how much did you do? Because you did something with license plates that I love to talk about.
Okay.
Because it sounds like life happens for you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Donna, these things that come up, if that didn't happen, you wouldn't have been able to do this whole thing with the license plates.
No.
And that. I mean, you passed a bill with the Senate, right?
I did.
I mean, this was a big deal. Why don't you talk about that? Because that was awesome.
Well, it really was a big deal, because if anybody knows anything about trying to get anything passed, it takes forever, the bureaucracy, everything.
It's true.
But, from the very beginning, from just the idea, for it to come to fruition with over 3 years. And it was
let's talk about that. It's PICS, is it?
Yeah, PIC Awareness, Parents in Connection for Kids. And I started that way back as a resource for other parents. So I had a lot of information on rehabs, prevention.
So I'm sorry. So you learned this after your daughter?
During.
Oh, so, okay. And then you took that and made this almost like an open forum to help other people.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That's exactly what I did.
That is just amazing.
I put things in there for professionals, for parents. I updated trends, drug trends, all of that. I spoke.
I'm going to talk to you about something very personal, which I never talk about anything.
Sure.
I went to one of those meetings, right? The meetings that you probably went. Have you ever gone to them?
Yes.
And I went once.
Are you talking about
for the family,
or the yeah,
right?
Yes.
That's exactly right, for the families. And I sat there and I said to my wife, I will never come back again, because you are now in it, and you are hearing these horror stories and making it worse, and it's growing that seed or weed, I'll call it, more and more and more. Is that helpful, or is that hurtful for the people that are surrounded by it? Because what I've learned was the people that are addicted, they don't care about anything. And you're sitting there and you are deteriorating. And then you're putting yourself in this group of everybody else deteriorating, and everybody becomes depressed.
Yeah.
Do you feel that was helpful?
I felt like you did when I went. I guess I was expecting more. I was expecting answers. I was expecting help, some kind of direction on how to fix it, a solution of some sort. And a lot of people were there wanting to, and they needed to do that. I'm just a different type of personality as you are, but some people it really works for. They want to go and be with like-minded and have that support. But I didn't get anything out of it, because, again, everybody and I don't want to use the word complain, but it was depressing. They said, oh, my son went to I followed him. He said he was going to work. He didn't. He went here. I'm
afraid of the relapse. Is it going to happen again?
Yeah.
I couldn't go through that.
But people some people don't have anybody to talk to. And I think that's some of it. If I didn't have anybody to talk to, I may have done that.
Right.
But I felt like I needed a solution, and I don't just sit back and let it happen.
Yeah.
I had to make it happen, because if you don't, and it's your kid or your loved one, you got to fight. You're in for the fight of your life when
You're exactly
this
right.
happens. And it didn't work for me. So that's why I decided to take a different route. I started to volunteer. I volunteered at Prevention First and ended up working there. Worked my way up to being the director of the coalition. And then I left and went to RWJ Barnabas Health Institute for Prevention. I was director of community relations. All of that is, to me, something more productive, more, helping other people, learning yourself.
Yeah.
When you have to even learn how to, you just have to reprogram yourself and your whole family when that happens.
Everything changes around their world.
It does.
It really does.
But it's almost like you can't let it, because you still need self-care, and you still have to
You're
take
right.
care of your family, and you still have a life. All of that is important. But you see this one person, and sometimes they talk about like the baby's mobile,
Yeah.
how it's perfect, but if one piece is missing, the whole thing tilts.
That's right.
And that's your family. Your family's all tilted. Everybody's nervous. One person's not getting the attention they need. You're a mess. Nobody can work. You're thinking. It's it's heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
So, and listen, we went through that too. We had to relearn. Like, I had to learn how to change the way I communicated with her.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't say, why are you doing this? We did this for you. What? Oh, da, da, da. Yell and scream. It's unproductive,
You're right.
Like, I have to say, I love you. I'm here for you. Let me know when you just have to reprogram everything. It's hard.
So
but
you took that whole process, the whole learning process,
Yeah.
right? And then you've developed some sort of care package, let's call it, right?
Yeah.
For lack of a better word, to help other people, right?
Yes.
So some of the things that you did, and let's go into that pics, because that was really an amazing thing that you got these license plates, and the city or the state comes in and they pass a bill. That from beginning to end
Yeah.
was amazing. And I also see, because not only do you have to pay for that $50, but there's the residual $10 for renewing it every year that goes into this
that
fund.
$10 goes into a fund for homelessness due to substance
Addiction,
use.
yeah.
And I'll tell you like how it happened. So how I got the idea, I was driving down the street. A parent called me and she was crying about her child. We can't have him come home. We don't have any money to get him into a rehab. To a sober living. He's coming out. We don't know what to do. Blah, blah, blah. And, there's just so much money. I didn't have a lot in mind. I would call other nonprofits, try to get the money. But I was in front of a car and I saw, like, Conquer Cancer. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why don't we have support recovery license plates? And I'm not saying that cancer isn't, but
No, of course.
it's cancer, sure to please, millions of license plates, because people believe in that and there is a need. But why didn't we have support recovery? And this money could go towards homelessness. So I met with a few people. Well, first of all, it was during the Christie administration. I'm also on the Governor's Council for Alcoholism and Drug Abuse. So I knew a few people there. And I approached and I asked, and they reached out to the DMV to find out information on how would you go about this? Like, what's the criteria? What are the steps? And we found out it wasn't that easy.
Of course.
So they came back and they said, okay, you can't just have license plates or an idea. It's $50,000 up front. It can't be, it can't
What?
be, it can't be state money or public money. It has to be private money. So you're cutting out all these
Right.
oh, where am I going?
But you can go to businesses, right? Businesses
Right,
would be
you
able
can,
okay.
but it's a lot.
50,000,
So so it kind of worked its way. All these different things that I had to get. You had to get at least 500 signatures, right? So I go on change.org. I do that. I start approaching people. And a friend of mine suggested Tom DeFelice from BMW, and which I knew him from Prevention First because we did a lot of different things with the golf outings and what have you.
Right.
He met with me and I spilled my guts and he said, Donna, I'd love to help you. That's a lot of money. He goes, but, and I kept talking about it, and he said, you have such a fire under your ass. He goes, I have an idea. He goes, give me a couple of days. Less than 2 hours later, he called and he said, we're going to reach out to NJ Carr, which they did.
NJ Carr is what?
It's New Jersey Coalition of Auto Retailers.
Okay.
Reached out to the president, Jim Appleton, and then I went and met with everybody and sat and talked to them and, spilled my guts again. And they gave me $50,000. Yeah.
Oh my God.
They gave me $50,000 to get this thing, the seed money to get this thing going. So, I call back and I call like the state and I say, hey, this is what I have. Bam, here's the money, right? And let's go now. So then I had to get the 500 signatures, and after I
That's
got
a
that,
walk in the park compared to that.
well, and I ended up getting 900, 900 signatures, and then you have to get a legislator, someone to write this bill, to support it, right? I had bipartisan support.
I think I saw that letter you sent me.
Yeah.
You sent me the resume.
I sent it to
right?
you. So I had bipartisan support, which is huge.
Yes, you
right?
don't get that anywhere now.
Right.
Now it's a whole different
That's
ballgame.
for sure. And sure enough, there it was. It was a bill. But just because it's a bill, as we know, doesn't mean it's going anywhere.
Yeah, right.
So I then went and testified to every committee that it went to. The Transportation Committee, the Appropriations Committee, and then it passed through Assembly. Then it had to go to Senate. So now here we go again. I have to go through Senate and do the same thing. Finally, it gets through there, and it was the very last. One time it didn't make it through the session, which means it's scrapped and you have to start all over again. So I had to go through that again, but luckily they knew me and we already did it, so it was more of a formality, but it was still, it still took time. So we're talking over 3 years. It finally got through the Senate and went to the Senate floor January 13th, 2019.
Yeah, 2019, that's right.
And I went there and boom, yeah, it passed.
Holy
and
crap.
then it had to go to Governor Murphy's desk because, the transition. So it went to his desk, and I waited and waited and waited, and he finally signed it. He signed it. So now, it's a real bill. It's a real bill.
How much do you think you brought in so far from this?
Well, now that's the other thing. So wait, we're not done.
Holy cow.
We're not done. I start getting things together in motion because now I have to meet with the DMVC, right? I had, what is it, the emblem, the image, right? Had to do the image, had to kind of, format what we wanted, how we wanted it, who was gonna, hold the money, which is the Division of Mental Health and Addiction Services. They will be taking in all the residual money and dispersing it. So it's not going through my nonprofit. But as we started getting there, COVID hit, right?
That's
Last
right.
year. So now COVID hit, and then we all know what happened with the DMVC.
Which closed down.
Yeah.
The whole thing closed
Everything closed down. Everything was a mess. They had, even once they went back, they were still, only a percentage going back. But they've been great. They've been back and forth with me. So they finally told me, you can go. Go ahead. Start getting the applications together. Start collecting the money. And then send them in. They'll be vetted. But I can do that, and I have been doing that. But we have to get the image signed off by me, the Division of Mental Health and Addiction Services, and the DMVC. So now that should be any day. We're hoping, how it goes.
Right.
But it should be any day now. And once that's done, we're good to go.
Oh, so
But
it's still not done yet?
Well, it's done in
okay.
the fact that I can give anybody the application.
I
They
see.
can fill it out. Give me a $50 check written out to Pick Awareness. I have that, right? Deposit it, send them in. So now she has them.
I see.
But and then once they're vetted, the division, they mail them directly to the person.
Got it.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's a big.
And by the way,
how
you're
do you
not
do?
getting paid for any of this. This is
No.
all your own time.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Listen, one time I was at my girlfriend's 60th birthday in Florida, and it was going on a Monday to the Transportation Committee. I flew home a day early. Yep, just to make sure.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing.
So
So right now you're still in the process of, I guess, making that money to accumulate it for this
Yes.
particular cause.
yes,
Got
you
it.
know. But I mean, listen, NJ Carr has been really supportive,
Yeah.
and they said they'll even help me promote it.
Because
you know,
that's the next
so
part. It's like the marketing aspect, right?
You have to, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But now I have all those 900 people that signed it, so I'm sending it all out, and slowly I'm getting it. Some people are waiting until their registration is up, all this other stuff. But really, having that plate is like an outward sign of support.
Yeah.
It reduces stigma, raises awareness.
Absolutely.
And that money goes into that fund where, somebody who needs sober living, who comes out of a rehab, can get it.
Yeah.
They'll be able
and
to
it's
get
a
it.
shame people who really need the help and they don't have the money
Yeah.
and the resources.
Well, they end up relapsing.
Yeah. How do
and
you
it's
fix
happened.
that? We have money to put people in jail and feed them
Yeah.
and give them medicine. But what do we do for people that just have this problem that we need to help
Yeah.
them, and there's
I
nothing.
mean, we really do. And I know there are some resources now for homelessness and, some money allocated and coming in, but it's just, there's never really enough.
Yeah.
There's never enough. There's always a shortage when it comes to that.
Is there anything that we can do as a school to help, like run a fundraiser, or I don't know, anything?
If you'd like to help me promote it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like maybe
That's
put
easy.
a link up if
Absolutely.
you could help me promote it.
Yeah, absolutely. I could do that.
Announce it here and there maybe.
That would be great. We could do that. If you need a sponsor for like a band, for example.
Oh.
If we're allowed to get together maybe
Oh,
one
yeah.
day, even if it's an outdoor event, you need a
Oh,
band.
that would be great.
Yeah, we could do that. And we
Yeah.
can have that, and people can pay tickets, or they can give donations, and we
Yeah.
can put it towards that. That
Right,
would be
and
awesome.
that was the thing too. Like, how they have the fairs and different things. I planned on I could get a table, like Seaside and all over the place. Get a table, hand out the applications, and it
Right.
just really hasn't. It's been a little tough, but we're
Yeah.
almost there, and I'm really starting to promote it now actively.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that,
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, all the parents that lost children, all the professionals out there who, work in the treatment, recovery, and prevention field, a lot of them, they know. So, I'm hoping that they'll step up and really get this plate,
Does that burn you out when you hear all those stories?
Well, funny you should say that.
Because I'm saying,
Yeah.
10 years with your daughter,
Yeah.
and you said 2019, I'm doing the math here, that's like 13 years now.
Yeah. It's a long time, In
But does it burn you out? You feel burnt out?
Well, yeah. I retired from Barnabas,
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to do it anymore. Like, I would never turn anybody's child away or anyone who needed help. Never. They can always call me. They still call me. And I will help them.
Yeah.
I'll do everything that I can. But I'm not working in that field now. I'm not, actively in it. And it burns you out because it's so sad. It's so sad.
Because people lose children, right? That's the
Yes.
thing.
I mean, they do. They lose children. They lose, families break apart.
Yeah.
It's terrible. So not that I had enough, but I just felt like, I preach to everybody about self-care.
Yeah.
Listen, take time for yourself. Yes, this is happening. You need to take care of yourself. You're no good to anybody, blah, blah, blah.
That's right.
And I just started and even with my own family, like my husband, it'll be in the middle of the night and I get a phone call and then I'm up and I'm talking to them and I'm helping them, and it was just constant. And I just had enough for me.
Yeah.
That I needed to do something fun and good for me and for my family.
But you kind of let it off on a great path. Look at all you're starting now to hand off to help all those other folks, right?
I'm hoping. And again,
You're hoping.
I'm still
Come
there,
on. Look how much you've done. I mean, just the mere fact of passing something in Congress, especially with the Senate, especially during
Yeah.
COVID. I mean,
Yeah.
we couldn't get they couldn't even get the people money fast enough.
I know.
For all this.
Well, that's the thing. You have to be diligent. You
You-
have to
absolutely.
want it.
You
Whatever
gotta be
it is,
persistent.
you have to. You have to be a little bit of a pain in the butt.
Are you a Capricorn?
No.
You're not, because I'm a
No.
Capricorn, and I feel like I'm the same way. I'm like, you gotta get right into it, persistence. And,
Nope, I'm July. I'm Cancer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What a great story. But that only goes to show you have still other things that you're doing. You have a sunglasses line.
Yeah.
You have a cookbook you also
Yeah.
have. And I think I saw that you cooked for one of the last holidays to 75 people.
It's mostly, Christmas Eve is huge at our house. It's 75 to 80 people.
Holy mackerel.
And we do the 7-fish dinner, and then some. Like
For
other
75
things.
people you cook for?
I'm telling you,
Yourself?
my husband and I do it, and my kids, they have to pitch in. It's tradition. They have to come and make those darn cookies. You know, those all the strupolo, that they do all that, and then they help do, you know, an antipasto. But mostly my husband and I do that. But we have it down to a science now. It's like a well-oiled machine. It's almost like a catered event, because we know every year we pretty much do the same things, you know, that are, you know, just staples that we can do. Because the fish you have to do last minute.
Yeah.
You know. So the other stuff.
75 people.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
We take all the furniture out of all the rooms, the 3 big rooms, and put, like, we have a covered porch, so we put the couches out there. I get banquet-sized tables coming in and set it up like an Italian restaurant. It's so nice. We love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and then you
fun.
do the dance at the end.
Yeah.
I saw the little dance.
Well, that was this year. We only had 5 people because.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's
you
right.
know, and nobody wants to come because then they got to take the mask off to eat. It's, so it was just really us, like a little group. Mm-hmm. But it's okay. I danced anyway. It's like, ooh.
But I think I saw something about a Puerto Rican eggnog. I saw Sailor Jerry's. I'm a big Sailor Jerry's guy. I love Sailor Jerry's. But there's a Puerto Rican eggnog with the recipe, I think.
Yeah, it's in that cookbook I just gave you.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, she gave me an awesome cookbook.
And it's my husband's Aunt Chicky. Mm-hmm. She makes it every year. She'll come and she brings it, and it's delicious.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, you'll have to.
And tell me about your sunglasses.
So, after I decided that I was kind of, burnt out, I needed to do something fun. So, again, I can't just sit around, because now what? There's only so much you can do. Clean the house, sit outside, go for a walk. And I started getting antsy. So I was in Atlantic City one day, and we were looking for a pair of sunglasses, but I wanted something different. Mm-hmm. I couldn't find anything, and I started to think, wait a minute, why can't I just make it? And I started playing, with old jewelry on it and glue, all, crazy stuff. And then I fine-tuned it, and I just started really getting into it and researching things and what have you. And Shady Girl Shades was born. I
saw that. And they're $49. Free shipping. You can't beat that.
Free shipping.
You really can't. So it's Shady Girl Shades, right?
ShadyGirlShadesVIP.com.
That's right.
Very important person. But when you wear it, they're just so much fun, And for this year, as one of the gifts, I made crown sunglasses for all the winners.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun,
So how did the Miss, Woman, New Jersey 2020, how did that help you with your platform as far as the drug addiction and raising money and awareness?
Well, listen, they're amazing. We have the most, amazing directors, and I'm not just saying that
because she's in the audience.
No, but I've told them this on and on because, I was never going to do this again, and my husband begged me never to do it again.
Do what again?
to compete.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not that it's work, it's just, it's a commitment.
Yeah.
And, I have all these other commitments, so, but they do what I do. They're passionate about, their mission is to reduce substance.
Yeah.
And women. And, I just wanted to be a part of that. So they helped me, they've posted about the license plates. They post different things that I post, and they have a big reach.
Right.
So they help me, and I'm trying to help them, with support Saks. Excuse me. One more little swig.
And so,
rock
and
out loud.
support Saks. Well, I just contributed to that as well. It's that you fill it up with shampoo, and I think I was telling somebody a couple of weeks ago, you can't get a man to go and support Saks because I just did an awful job. Eyelashes and eyeliner and shampoo and some spritzes and then a stuffed animal. But yeah, that's an amazing
cute,
cause.
Though.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, but there was a tremendous bag that I just filled up. It was.
I didn't see it, but now I have to.
It was the.
I just have to see
it. Was what was it was. Yes, Sarah Mae Campbell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was awesome. She was awesome. So that's as far as that goes. So the last thing I did want to bring up is the way I usually end the podcast is I ask this question that I ask most of the people on the podcast, and it's a great question because it really makes us really dig deep and find out what we're all about.
Okay.
I'm a big classic Mustang guy, and my dad always loved the Mustang, and like father, like son, right? So I had one that was completely renovated, and I pull it into the garage, and the garage door's going down. and I said to my dad, Pop, boy, do I love that Mustang. It was 66, it was a convertible, it was a GT, and it was candy red. And it was a rotisserie restoration, and when the guy was rebuilding it, they didn't have a VIN number. And nothing matched, because it was literally, it was like a brand new car. So I made it my son's birthday. That was the VIN number. And I said, I love that car. And he said, you know what, Mike, I was in church the other day, and the pastor said, everything in life that we own, one day somebody else is going to own. Wow. And it's going to be that car and your house and the watch that you wear or the chain of your ring. He said, what are you here for? I mean, is it the car? Is there another reason why God put you on this earth? So I'm going to ask you, what are you here for? What's your legacy?
I think tradition, with my girls, if I had to pick something, I'd want them to keep on the tradition of all the things that our family has done, just the cooking and the holidays and being there and being supportive and, leaving something, like a legacy, right? So just having them, really be successful, and I'm hoping that I'm part of that. I would want that to be my legacy, that I did okay for my kids, and that I was able to do okay for other people's kids. Like, like with this license plate, that I left something. I made history.
That's going to be around forever.
Yeah.
And you were the one that put your stamp on it.
Yeah.
That is flipping amazing. I mean, I really honor you for that. Let's talk about the person that you are, the role model. If I was your daughter, I mean, I'm sure your daughters will say the same thing, is you can do anything. Anything that you put your mind to, whether it's your faux painting or your sheetrock or starting up your own business or a cookbook or coming out with sunglasses or passing a bill in the Senate, you are the epitome of what you can do, not what you can't do. I mean, that in itself, and I'm sure other people recognize it, not just your kids, but there's probably a whole group of people that are just so grateful to have you in their life. I really mean that, Donna.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I want to honor you for that, because I know what you went through, and it was a very difficult time. I know for me, and going through that was just, it was tough.
It is. It's tough. But again, like you said, it's a learning, and it's something that you wouldn't have chosen for yourself, but you chose to do something about it.
Right. It's like life happens for you.
Yeah.
And it's what you do with it, right? Yeah. You can say, "Oh, I can't believe that happening to me," but what can you do with it?
Yeah.
And you took it and you fixed it. That's flipping awesome. But I want to honor you.
I think too, like, what I've noticed obviously is at any age, like, you're never too old to not do it.
Yeah.
You can always do something and reinvent yourself.
And you can always rely on a story, right? And you can believe it.
Yeah.
Your story could be, well, I still have another 30 years. I'm going to do it.
Right.
Or I'm going to make this happen, Or your story's like, it's too hard. It's a pandemic. We got COVID. Oh, there's Murphy. So you didn't take you can write your own story, and that's what you did.
Yeah.
You wrote your own story, right? And those recipes, I'm sure, are all traditions that your kids are going to take with them as well. So, you're immortal now. You have a book that's never going away, and your license plates and the bill in the Senate. Man, I don't know if I could live up to half of what you've done.
Wait a minute now. I've seen what you've done over here, and that's just tonight, and everything else that I've read. And you're an amazing host.
I appreciate
Are you kidding?
that. Thank you, Donna. And let me tell you, I could do this for hours with you. I appreciate it. And again, very, very beautiful. I don't know if the cameras can really see how beautiful she is, but a knockout. I cannot believe that she's sitting there next to me. I probably got the best job in the world, ladies and gentlemen. But Donna, it was a pleasure. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
You betcha.
Really. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.